guilty of crime.
All right. Hello, everybody. What's up? I'm Jay with Guilty of Crime, and we're back, guys. Let me just make sure my settings are okay. Got the microphone going. Synth, give me a minute. I'll let you up. We're not quite there yet, but last minute stuff, huh? Very last minute stuff. Yeah, just hold behind the scenes. What's up, everybody? How you doing? Good to see you. It's a big day today. Now, I missed yesterday. I definitely missed out on yesterday's episode because the internet wasn't working. So let me do this. Hold on. Let me stream this down here. Always a trigger warning. All right. Always a trigger warning. And especially on a discussion like today. Now, why is this being weird? I'm sorry. StreamYard has been extremely difficult lately. Oh my goodness, Chris is in the house. Just the man I wanted to see. Everybody, welcome Chris Stearns. I'm sure Deb's going to roll in here at some point. Chris, I just texted you. If you want me to call you at some point, I can put you on speaker. If you want to say things and straighten them out a bit. Good to see everybody. Now, today's a big day, and I didn't even realize how big of a day it was. First of all, hit that like button, guys. Subscribe if you haven't. Get a membership if you can. And be nice to each other and our guests in chat. All right. Cinth's going to help me here a little bit. And I think what I'll do is let me just start off. Let me start with this. Now, Chris is on the other, he's in chat, but he's also a call away. So I think I will say a little bit and then I'll let him say what he wants to. And then we can go like that. It might be a little bit different than I planned, but Stephan's now in his new home in Appalachia Correctional Institute East Unit. This is not a good prison. All right. No prisons are good, but I looked this one up and it's terrible. And we're going to do an episode on this, but not right now. Not today. I'm not going to do that. I just want you to know Stephan's there. It's not a good spot. The trial's over. The case is over. There's no other arrest. We don't know where Jen is, but we do know is that Deb and Chris would like to, now they can talk because they're not subpoenaed witnesses. So that's what we're talking about today. We've been kind of spinning our wheels here between myself and Deb and Chris, and just things come out as you start watching interviews and thinking about it. Okay, so Deb and Chris Stearns were subpoenaed witnesses, which meant they could not talk. And when they did, they better tell the truth, especially if they're in court. So we're going back, right? You're going to hear from Chris because I'm actually going to call him so he just wrote me this awesome poem about what their thoughts are now. And so I don't know how to get them out better than letting him say what he wants to say. All right. So we don't know where Jen is, but I do want to show you this. I want to show you what Chris and Deb see when they see their child or their kid, or when they thought about him being getting the death penalty, or when they think about him going to this prison and what might happen to him. This is what they see. This is who they see. This is Stephan Stearns. This is the little boy, Stephan Stearns, that I can imagine Deb putting a lot of effort into having a baby. As far as I have shared it before, I believe it was IVF. They wanted a child, and they got him. That's a little boy, Stephan Stearns that mom and dad, Chris, used to see, they used to know, right? Raised him this and this. So if you go back and think about your children, maybe your kids are this age right now. Maybe this is a memory from the past. That's actually Stephan Stearns right there in his childhood. Those parents, Chris and Deb, obviously Deb gave birth, but they had that little boy. And so you can see the dilemmas in the beginning, middle, right now, how they feel. All right. So this is where that guy is going to be now. This guy that they know is going to be here. Okay. And so, yeah, I can't imagine that situation and I don't want to. But Chris and I were going back and forth and we were talking about that interview that we last saw with, last saw um, with Jen on the couch, crying, not crying, seeing the CSAM, seeing her daughter on her knees, giving a BJ to Stephan, and then calling Chris and saying, get him a lawyer. None of us could understand that. So we're going back and forth and back and forth. And now that Chris and Deb are not subpoenaed witnesses, they'd like to tell you, and I'd like to tell you what really happened that night, what we think really happened that night in our opinions, and moving forward, watching all this information. Now, let's start off real quick. Sneads, Jackson County, Florida is where Stephan's going to be. It's not a good place. This place is old. It hasn't been updated. It's East Unit in the State Prison for Men, Sneed, Jackson County, Florida. Owned and operated by Florida Department of Corrections, has a mix of level securities, including minimum, medium, and close. It houses male offenders, and it's also the first unit opened in 1949. So I have images from 1970, and it was bad then. Well, guess what? It's way worse now. But after we tell you what we're going to tell you, and I tell you, and Chris tells you, we might not worry so much about that quiet Stephan Stearns that lets Jen Soto run him. Maybe not. Now that I know a little more, there's 1,322 prisoners, and I guarantee you, at least 5 of those people want Stephan's head. All right, and I was a little bit more concerned before I heard this information. We were talking about it, and Chris is going over portions of the interview with Jen. Right now, he wanted to say she wasn't completely honest about things, but what she wasn't completely honest about, you guys are going to be surprised. You're going to be surprised. And I don't even know what this means for Jen Soto at this point. So welcome everybody. Come on in. If you missed this episode, you're going to want to go back and watch it. So I think maybe before I even start telling anything, I kind of give you a preface to what's happening. They had a crystal clear idea of what happened that night. And there's a discussion. Now it's open discussion because they're not subpoenaed witnesses. It could have been damning to Stephan's case. And so they never said anything. They were witnesses. The court didn't happen. And here you go. Now, I'm going to leave you hanging with this for a minute, and then I'll call Chris. Now, if they were asked by a prosecutor a specific question, which he's going to share with you, about Jen's statements to the police versus Jen's statement to Chris, what her behavior was like while he was there, as Stephan and her gave that scripted story, they're going to be honest, and they would have been honest in court. But this statement could be very damaging to Stephan's defense. All right. Not only could it be damaging, but now it can be used for him. I'm going to say it could be used for him because I thought Stephan was this pedo that never grew up from this age, liked to play with toys, and people pushed him around because of it. No. That is not the case. That is not the case. And him being here, this might come in handy, what we're going to find out for him. All right. What we're going to find out may not be what you think. I had trouble even sleeping last night because I didn't know any of this, and it's wild. So towards the end of the interview where Jen, they asked Jen if Stephan had any triggers, she said no. That was completely not true. All right. Completely not true. So that being said, and I'm sorry, Synth, I'm going to have to keep you in the background for a minute because I'm going to call Chris right now and let him tell you. I'd rather him tell you with his own words than for me, and then we can continue going over stuff. So hang in there with me, everybody. Chris, I'm going to give you a call and put you on speaker. Probably the easiest way to go. Let me turn this off and see if I can hear. All right. Let's see if we can get it. Yeah, I couldn't sleep and my internet wasn't working. Welcome, Chris. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, and I just want you to know that your technical issues with your internet spilled over to where we are because I have two internet services and neither one of them are working tonight. So I got Debbie on her iPhone using it as a modem, and I came to the office to do some work, and so I'm at the office on my computer watching you and obviously talking to you on the telephone.
Yeah, she was telling me. So like it was just all around yesterday wasn't good, and now you got those. So I think that's the best bet for you to just have you on speaker, and I'll leave them hanging and then let you tell them, and then I'll finish the show after. Well, it is the show, right?
It's whatever you want it to be.
Well, it is, but after you told me what you told me, I had trouble settling in, and then my internet didn't work, so I just had to sleep on it, and now we're here.
Well, so I guess maybe just answering some questions, or do you want me to just kind of dive into? The funny thing is, I've never ever seen any of those police interviews. I did read all the statements that were released by the police department and all the witnesses' statements and interviews that they had with roommates and stuff. And I came to the conclusion, and I shared it with Debbie. I said, based on what I'm reading here from the evidence of all the police reports that were released, I have no problem with saying that Stephan was, to me, was a lone perpetrator and responsible for his actions. I mean, there's no excusing whatever he had on the phone, and I don't care what kind of defense the defense attorneys were throwing up. It was ridiculous for them to go down that road. And in my mind, he would never be not guilty of those crimes. We were just shocked by the whole thing. But
right,
the other issue is reading the description and understanding from 11 p.m. when Jen returned home from work. They kind of met with Jen in her room, and then everybody went their ways. And then what happened during the evening, and the one roommate had indicated that there was a thud. Reading all that pretty much told me that Stephan was responsible for this by himself.
Right.
And then when you start to see the videos that were released of him emptying out the backpack, you don't see Jen anywhere.
No.
And then the other thing that you have to come to a decision with is that nowhere during his entire time incarcerated in Osceola did he ever claim that he was innocent. He never accused anybody else.
No, he didn't.
Never denied that he did it. And that's kind of an important point, because when we talk about triggers, if at any time you got into a discussion with Stephan, and let's just say you had to escalate the conversation a bit with him, he would be upset by it. So upset that it would trigger him.
Right.
And so Jen told me a story about when they were together. Maddie, Jen, Stephan were together. And he had a trigger moment. I don't know what caused it, but he had a trigger moment.
Right.
And they were at McDonald's in the drive-thru lane, and sometimes it happens when you're at McDonald's, you can't get your entire meal delivered to you, that you have to go park off of their side area,
right,
and wait for your meal. Well, they pull out a line, and then they realize in that area segregated for people to receive their orders, there was no space. It was all occupied, but one was occupied by a Kissimmee police car, and the police officer was just in there, chowing down, eating, and Stephan became extremely upset, so upset that he got into a rage, and it was very upsetting to Maddie and very upsetting to Jen. They were quite taken aback and
over McDonald's, over having to wait on the side for McDonald's. You're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. So they asked him to pull off to the side, and he got upset, like raging, triggered type of thing.
Oh yeah. He just unloaded about the police officer, and I guess if he wanted to, he could have gotten down and he said police officer. That would have been interesting,
right?
But this. So when she said that, and then later she had to raise her hand and swear that she had told the whole truth. I don't know if she forgot or it was in memory. Convenient for her to forget. I have no idea, but that wasn't true. And again, she described the story to us because obviously we weren't there.
Right.
But there have been occasions. I had indicated to you that there have been 3 occasions with me, but there were multiple occasions where he would just storm away and punch his fist into the wall, leave holes.
Right.
Multiple holes, and punch his door.
Right.
And there were holes in his door.
There
were times
coming back, right? I don't want to interrupt you, but coming back to that, it was stemming from Jen. The cops asked Jen if Stephan had any triggers, and she said no. Right. So that was a lie. And that was the biggest lie that you see. And now you're okay. So people were saying they couldn't hear you. So I'm just, I called you and put you on speaker because I didn't know if I can call you from the computer or not, which might be easier. But can you guys hear him?
I'm going to speak. I'm going to get out of my AirPods and speak from my speakerphone.
Okay.
Is this better?
Yeah, you're a little bit louder.
Okay.
There you go.
Louder?
Yes, you're good.
Speak in a deeper tone.
Speak in a deeper tone. Yes.
Okay, you got it. So we had multiple incidents, and I've got to believe that Maddie and Jen probably had more than that one occurrence. I can't believe in 7 years that there was only one incident. There's just no way I would believe that.
Well, 2 now, right?
Yeah. So, like I said, if you started to press Stephan and he didn't like where it was going, and he would get that would be a trigger, and then if you just completely ignored what he was saying, that really set him off. And so he's attacked me physically 2 times around the throat. My face was marked up, my ears were marked up, obviously my neck was marked up.
Damn.
So I had those 2 experiences. But then one time I was in one of these situations, and he was at the other end of the room. I walked into the kitchen, and I just walked just to get some space between us, and then I was going to turn around, and I did turn around and come back out. Before I went through the entryway, something whizzed by the entryway, and I heard a noise. I go, oh, gee, I wonder what that was. And I came out and looked to the right, and there was a pair of scissors that were embedded in a metal door.
Damn, that's hard to do.
Yeah, I looked at him, and then I walked over to the scissors and stood next to the scissors, and they were right at my temple. And I just kept thinking, wow, if I had been just a second or 2 earlier, there's a good chance that those scissors would have embedded in my brain, in my temple, and I would have just dropped on the spot. I mean, I was blessed at the time that didn't happen. But
how old was Stephan?
He had those moments.
How old was he when that happened? Approximately, was he in his 20s, 30s?
He was in his 30s.
30s. Okay, just gives me a perspective. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So, but anyway, there's a lot of information, as you disclosed, that we couldn't share with people because of the fact that we were subpoenaed and didn't want to disrupt the legal process, and we knew that. What we were hoping for is the truth would come out, whatever he knew. I mean, somehow he seemed to feel that there was this magic bullet that his defense had, and like I have shared with you, if it was the illegally searched phone, I wasn't going to accept that. I'm glad the judge didn't either,
Right.
because there's just no denying it. And again, as I've said before, if you've done something and you're caught, as caught as you are, fess up to it. And the fact that he never did allowed the authorities to do their investigation and arrive at their own conclusion, and pretty much pin the responsibility all on Stephan. And that interview and the information I've read from witnesses, roommate statements, and everything else, and knowing, and Deb and I have always believed this from the beginning, that we at first thought maybe Jen may have been responsible for being aggressive with Maddie, but
Right.
if you backtrack and think about what happened that Saturday night,
Yes.
and the fact that he was just in this panic mode,
Yes.
and then you find out much later that he removed his hard drive. And as I've said to you multiple times, who removes their hard drive?
Yeah.
I mean, he left Sunday with some intentions, premeditated intentions.
Right.
What they were, I don't know. Maybe he thought he was going to quell whatever the issue was, but there was an issue. But the fact that he took that hard drive with him said two things. One, he wasn't going to be returning, or number two, if something happened and somebody came to the house and did a search and discovery and took that hard drive, God knows what they would have found there.
Right. Right.
So
that's a big deal.
Put all that together,
yeah.
And it to me, it just says you're guilty, and there's just no denying it.
Right. Right. And we still don't know why he was in a whatever mood he was in Saturday, asking for anxiety pills and whatever. But whatever it was, he planned something, took the hard drive, and went to Jen's house with Maddie. So that's where we are. Oh.
Well, now we're left with the quandary of how we're going to see him, because he's at least 7 hours away one way. And, with the dogs, it doesn't, I mean, I could make the trip, but for Deb and I to make the trip, what we'd probably be looking at is maybe $800, maybe $1,000, because we'd be gone for 2 days. We got to arrange for the dogs to be taken care of. Then there's a hotel room and everything else.
Right.
As much as I want to know, I'm not sure I'm willing to make that investment yet. He's where he needs to be. He put himself there. He's got nobody else to blame for himself, and I'm just not going to be supportive about it. He's guilty of his own actions, and he's where he's appropriate and needs to be placed. I don't wish him any ill will, but at the same time, a parent can only do so much. And, if there's a royal screw up, he's got the grand royal screw up. He screwed up big time. And,
yeah. Not funny, but it's just.
Oh yeah. I mean, I just have to remain compartmentalized about it and not get emotional about it. And just realize it is what it is. You can't do anything about it. That's what you're left with. And so and we have to move on. Deb and I have talked about this and said, we just have to move on from this.
Right.
And live out whatever years we have left. And we have each other. We support each other. And, we're good about this. And, we're not having emotional breakdowns and what have you.
Right.
We've been living with this for about 18 months. So, we're pretty callous about it. Not callous, but, we're resilient.
Right. Right. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, that was a big shocker to me. And maybe that will help him in this awful prison he's going to be in, that he can get upset like that and fly off the handle and fight back maybe. But I had no idea that I literally thought he was like this meek dude that just, Jen ran him and he just let her. I didn't know that he had done any of those things to you in his 30s. And then So we go back to the night that he was there with Maddie then. And I mean, you wrote it down, but what do you think happened that night?
Well, see, if you go back to look at the phone calls we had with him very early, I mean, it's scattered throughout the communications that we've had with him, and especially at the beginning, and then you put together everything else, Jennifer's interview, and then some of the the inside information we have about his rages or fits of rage. It doesn't take long to put the pieces together. So he mentions very early in the phone conversations we had with him, that he was up and down the stairs throughout the night. He made multiple trips away from the room. He went downstairs, and then he went back upstairs. I guess suppose he got him back in bed, and then and Maddie there. And then the last time when he did that, he says, and again, I think he can go back and find the conversation.
Yep.
She was cold.
Right.
So, and then again, months later, the big data dump that was released by the police or the state attorney's office, and I'm reading through all the transcripts.
Yeah.
Nobody heard anything. At 11 o'clock, everybody goes to bed. I think one roommate comes home late. Here's a thud around 2 o'clock, but nobody hears anything.
Right.
And he's up and down those stairs. I mean, I don't know what time, because again, you can't believe everything he tells you. At what time he discovered her on live. Now he's got to start thinking about how he's going to cover this. Right. And the fact that he went in. So think about this. Maddie didn't need to be to school until 8:30 or 8:45, but right. He leaves at 7:30.
Yep.
Under the pretense that they were going to McDonald's for breakfast. He goes into Jen's room to get Sailor. He gets Sailor because he doesn't want Jen to get up. Doesn't want Jen to get up and supposedly engage with Maddie. Oh, hey, Jen, I got things covered. I'll take Sailor out. Don't worry, go back to sleep.
Right.
And she probably took a pill or two, and so it wasn't difficult for her to do that.
Yeah.
And so now there's nobody else. None of the other roommates are up, and he leaves.
Right.
And what he does during that time, I don't know. I don't know from what time the police started tracking him. I don't know if he dumped her backpack that morning at 7:30 before he went to school or took her to school. What really amazed me is that, we talk about Maddie leaving her phone behind, but when I talked to him on Tuesday, and I said, Stephan, you're going to be a person of interest. I said, what have you got to prove to document that you made these trips? Because he told me, well, I went here, I went there, I went there. And I said, what about your cell phone? They can ping it. Well, I don't have my cell phone. Well, just like a teenager, Stephan never went anywhere without that phone. And he gives me this BS excuse of resetting the phone, what have you. Well, you can continue resetting your phone in the car. You don't have to be someplace else and
right.
Leave it parked. It's not like you're going to disturb it and disrupt the reset. But
right.
I call BS on that.
Yeah.
So now he's conveniently left his phone behind, and of course he continues to do that because he doesn't want his motions and his travels monitored.
Right.
But he forgot about the big eye in the sky.
Yeah.
all those cameras out there.
Yeah, lots of them, and at the place too, at the condo, right?
Yeah. I mean, look. Anywhere you go, you got people with Ring doorbells or whatever camera systems they have. You can't go past one or two houses without somebody tracking you. and go down the whole street, and then you get the traffic light cameras or the cameras at the intersections. There's cameras everywhere. I mean, I was amazed to see how much they had followed his travels, even to the point of going to iDrive and driving up into a parking lot,
right,
and even acknowledging he moved her from the front seat to the trunk.
Yeah,
I mean,
they got that on film. They got it all on video too.
Yeah, I was shocked by that. I said, forget about committing any crimes. Anybody that's thinking about committing a crime, you're going to get caught.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I mean, and there's some statements I'm looking at here that, so you got the, I was up and down all night. That was on Sunday to Monday, when obviously then he says to you or to anybody, whoever, I don't know if he directly told you, I checked on her, then found her cold. And so by hearing that story, you think that he cared for her, but it was an accident, right? I mean,
well, at some point, that accident turns into something more serious, because if it was an accident, right, and he allowed her to pass,
yeah,
then that now becomes a different motive. He had the ability to, if she was suffering, he had the ability to call an ambulance and seek immediate medical attention. But I think, again, the reason why he didn't do that is because he didn't want discovery made of what was on his phone. He was covering it. He did all this to cover up the essay, I'm sure.
Right.
But again, don't know what the motivating factor was for his panic Saturday night, and I'm not sure. Again, it's possible that it carried over into Sunday. Maybe she was telling him that she was going to go live with her father in Texas, and maybe he didn't like that, or maybe there was a threat made to him for his safety, meaning that not being discovered.
Right.
It could be any of those things. Don't know until I ask him. Not sure when that's going to be, and it'll be interesting to see what kind of BS is shared with me at that point.
But he's never once told you, and there's a question, has he ever once told you or Deb that he was innocent or that he didn't do it? Now, we know about the CSAM stuff. He just glossed over that because, right, you're his parents. But as far as the taking of Maddie's life, he's never told you that he didn't do it, or, I mean, anything?
Nope. Never said, never accused anybody else. Never said that Jen did this, did that, and maybe he was holding out for the trial on that. You look at the transcripts of the messages that we were sending back and forth the night before of the plea hearing, and then his comments after the plea hearing. Again, he says he laid down. He didn't want to do this, didn't like this, and it was all because he wanted to tell a story. The defense attorneys, because he makes a statement in there in his post plea hearing message to us that their defense was going to be probability and possibility.
Right.
Well, that wasn't a defense, because what they were going to try to do is present a scenario to the jury. Their defense was going to present a scenario to the court, to the jury, that, well, here's a possibility. This is the possibility of what this happened. But the problem is that the police had already put their narrative together. Their entire case rested on their narrative, and they had very strong evidence to support them. Now, Stephan comes along, and he's going to give his testimony and said, well, here's what really happened.
Right.
I accidentally got mad and I did this, and then it was an accident. I didn't mean for that to happen, but it did. But he didn't do anything to prevent her from passing.
Right.
So, nobody's going to buy that. And it's well, maybe we can poke holes in the medical examiner's report. Well,
right.
By the time they discover the body, again, based on what I'm hearing and reading, is that the body had decomposed to the point that They couldn't dispute what the ME said, and whatever the ME said stood firm. They even got a medical examiner expert to review it. He goes, I don't think so. Now I'm not touching this with a 10-foot pole.
Right.
So he was dead in the water. For him to accept that plea deal, if he wanted to avoid the death penalty, because if he went to trial, I'm pretty sure they would have found him guilty and given him the death penalty.
Right.
So this was his ticket out of that.
Right.
But he was whining about it.
But you know what I find interesting is that I mean it's almost eerily interesting is that when he did attack you one of the times he went for your neck and choked you or whatever. I mean that's not a typical response when you're fighting someone. We all been in a fight and you don't typically go to choke somebody. And so it's interesting that ultimately, I mean, that was the ruling of Maddie's death was strangulation, asphyxiation. Her hyoid bone was broken. I mean, did you ever see the autopsy at all? I mean, you don't have to say.
No, but I know about the hyoid bone being broken.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, when you told me those stories about him attacking you and going for your neck to strangle or choke you or whatever, that's immediately my thought that was a good possibility. That's what he did to Maddie.
Now, I can tell you this, I never felt in fear of my life when he did that because he never put a strong enough hold on my neck in order to, cut my wind off or that I felt threatened.
Right.
And I could tell he was restraining himself, and I'm not sure why he was doing what he was doing, unless it was for dramatic effect or what have you. But I guess if I continued taunting him, I guess I could have gotten him to tighten up a bit. But I sometimes just, like I said, I pushed his buttons and set him off.
Right. And you're a grown man. You were a grown man then, and Maddie, was 13 years old, and we know that age that you're delicate still, right? You're still growing. You're small. He's 6 foot. What? I don't even know how tall he is, but he's a big guy.
He was taller than me.
Yeah. He's a big guy.
He was, at least 6'1", maybe 6'2".
Yeah, and he's lost weight now, but wow. So I mean, I'll ask you while I have you here. What do you think about Jen? And I just want your clear, and people might not like it, what you have to say about her involvement in any of this. But what do you think?
She's so my impression of Jen is this. First of all, I think it was interesting that she told me everything that she had, the conversations with the sheriff's detectives, and shared with me. They found these photos. They even showed her the photos, and yada yada. But at the end of the interview, they told her they were arresting Stephan.
Right.
And she never disclosed that to me. She was out of the jail. I was done with my interview. I was taking her down to Kissimmee to go home, and she never disclosed to me that they were arresting Stephan.
Really?
I found that out after it was released in the news. We got a lot of our news from the legitimate news sources, the papers and the TV.
Right.
TV would have you. But I found that kind of odd that she never disclosed that, and that's what I found intriguing. One of the many things I found intriguing about the police interview. So my impression of Jen is this. It's quite obvious to me that she was just totally oblivious to the essay.
Okay.
And she was definitely oblivious to the death of Maddie, because you don't see her in any of these videos. You just don't hear any mention. And the fact that these roommates are there and none of them heard anything, none of them saw anything. She's sucking up whatever Stephan told her, and so she's sitting there with the police at her mother's office Monday night, and then the TV interview, and she's trying to gather her thoughts because all she's got to go by is what Stephan told her.
Yep.
She's not part of this.
Right.
She's going by what Stephan told her. And so again, when you put all this together, she's just a dumb person,
a potato,
and just totally oblivious to the essay. Now, I still don't hold out for the possibility that maybe there was something going on. There was some sort of criminal enterprise, because the one thing that really baffles me was where Stephan was getting the money for all these packages.
Right.
And I can tell you that sometimes he was like a vulture waiting for roadkill if he ordered a package. I mean, he was constantly monitoring the mailbox or the UPS, because he wanted to make sure he got that package and we didn't get it and accidentally open it up and, oh my God, what the hell is this?
Right.
Again, that's the biggest question I have. I tried to get in his bank account, but he closed out his bank account because we have his power of attorney.
Oh.
They go, oh, he closed this out. So I don't know what other accounts he had out there, but he wasn't getting money for me, and he never saved a nickel. So I don't know where money was coming from.
Right.
So,
right. Well,
unless he was doing something nefarious on the internet, and that, I've told that multiple times, and if the legal system didn't kill him, we would have, because if you think about, we've all seen or heard these horror stories where somebody's doing something like this, and police storm your house and they take you, they handcuff you, they put you out in the front lawn. And so now, here Deb and I are just sitting, innocent bystanders,
right.
Sitting at the table having coffee, and the police storm in and grab our ass and handcuff us and put us out in the front lawn. The dogs would have gone in a protective mode,
right?
And start shooting them. The ones they didn't kill, farm them off to some shelter someplace. Would have lost all our dogs. The news would have showed up, media would have showed up at our house, and we would have been front page news all over the place,
right?
And headline news everywhere.
And legal, you'd be paying legal fees up the yin yang and whatever else.
Yeah.
But so the only other thing, and people, I just want you to know that what we're saying, Chris was in close proximity with Jen, and I guess his opinion is just based on how she acted, just like she just completely was out of it and listened to Stephan's story. However, I got to ask you, Chris, as far as the CSAM stuff goes, what do you think about the fact that she saw Stephan assaulting Maddie in those pictures, and then she goes on to call you and tell you to get a lawyer? Was it her being okay with it, and just maybe, I mean, what do you think? I don't know how she.
Well, when she's texting me, she hasn't seen these photos yet.
Okay.
And all she knows is that there are these explicit photos that not telling me who they are or what they are.
Right.
And it wasn't until she came out for a dinner break and we went to dinner that she told me what it was.
Right.
And she was completely calm about it. It's like I said, she's, maybe she's at that point in denial. You saw her during the interview. You saw her body language. You saw her tone and her emotions and attitude, and she was just blasé.
Yeah, yeah. So
I mean, there was no emotion.
No, none.
It's and I think she just she's just in denial.
Right. Okay. So that's it's everybody's opinion. And you were like right there with her, and she didn't act like that. She didn't even tell you got arrested. That's odd, but I wonder if she kind of just like compartmentalized that, and maybe, she said that she was, our biggest fear was Maddie running off with Stephan, like the Woody Allen. I wonder if at some point she thought she knew, but she just let it go on because she was benefiting. But, we're never going to know. We're never going to know unless Stephan says something.
Again, a lot of unanswered questions.
Right.
I want to know what the answer is, because it's driving me crazy. Where was the money coming from? And man, if I find out he was conducting a criminal enterprise out of our house, man, I am just going to be because I asked Deb last night. I said, if the police had stormed the house, I said, would you have any empathy for Stephan at that point? And she said, absolutely not, because if Debbie lost those dogs, that's her world.
Right.
She would have gone into a deep, dark hole. And she lost a horse one time because somebody stupidly left open the pasture gate. The horse got out and was hit by a truck. She was very upset over that.
Right.
And these dogs are, our life. They're very important to us.
Right. Yeah, I get that. Deb's, those are her pride and joys. I get lots of cool, cute pictures, so I get it.
Yeah.
And Stephan's already all grown up. He was already out of the house, essentially. He'd come back, but it's not like he was hanging out with you guys. He would just come and go, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, hindsight being 2020, I mean, I thought about, asking him to leave 20 years ago. Our concern was, well, we didn't want him sleeping under an underpass and something could happen. Now we fast forward 20 years later. So wait a minute.
Right.
What just happened?
Right.
We were concerned about something happening, and then underneath our eyes, something did happen, and he still ended up in a bad situation. And we invested a lot of money trying to figure out how to get him acclimated to and orientated to a real life. You have a real job, you have a family, and you have a career. I mean, I certainly set up a number of opportunities for him to do that.
Right.
And if I was his age and my father did that for me, I would have taken that advantage and multiplied it. I would have been passionate and invigorated to make myself successful on that. But for Stephan, no, didn't happen. I just couldn't figure out what would motivate him. But he did it himself by getting a job at Disney. And I go, okay, all right, I'll get behind that. And then
Right.
he would give us positive reports from his supervisors. And I said, well, I want to support that. So, if he needs some extra money, I'll give him some extra money. And I just kept trying to provide him with positive reinforcement.
Right.
And then I come to find out, maybe the last 90 days he was at Disney, he fell back in the same BS pattern. And he missed a cumulative of 30 days of work. Well, now he lost all opportunities for promotions. He was depressed over that. And so now we're back to square one. And, it very frustrating, very frustrating.
Absolutely. I mean, I think we asked the wrong question before. I guess we asked the wrong question to Deb. What were there any signs of what this led up to? And no for the CSAM, but yes for Maddie's life being taken, that he could fly into a rage if he didn't like something and things happen. So, I mean, that's just my perspective on it.
Yeah. Again, I just have to, I can't over speculate on things and just,
Right.
But just intuitively feel, again, because I was with Jen that night, then watching that interview, and then knowing Stephan and being around Stephan. And like I said, we talked last time, you can't put a GoPro on your kid and figure out, what they're doing.
You might not want to see it though, Chris. That's the thing. You can, but you don't want to see it.
Yeah. I don't know how all this got started. It's just, when he says I didn't start it, well, that only leaves one other person that may have started. And you're going to tell me a possible 9-year-old started this?
Right. And unless it was Jen, unless in his mind, he said he would come out of the shower and they'd flirt with him. So I don't know. I don't know what he meant by that.
Well, think about this for a second. Yeah. If you were aware of something and you knew the magnitude of what has been transpiring, and you're in the police station, if you were to put a blood pressure or monitor your pulse, your heart's got to be racing,
right?
Because now it's a matter of not revealing what really happened and not disclosing anything. So, you're going to be a nervous wreck.
Right.
And she was just calm, cool, and collective. So if you were guilty of something, there would be some telltale tales of body language and such that would really reveal that she was nervous about the questions.
Right.
And she would stumble, but she didn't.
No.
Which leads me to believe, and which is why I came to this conclusion, she was clueless that this was going on.
Right.
And then certainly clueless about what happened to Maddie.
Right.
And that's where I'm drawing my conclusions and my strength from, and understanding Stephan's rage, and the fact that he's up and down the stairs throughout the night, and then he gets back into bed and she's cold. You know, he's responsible for the accident, but he's also responsible for letting her die.
Right.
That's the sad thing. That's the sad thing.
Right. It is sad. I mean, yeah, and this is all speculation. Some people see it one way because she was cool, calm, and collected and trying to get him a lawyer, that she was in on it. And then you have yourself that, like, no way. I was with her. I saw her, what she was going through, the way she talked to me, how she acted, and she's just dumb as a potato. I'm saying that, but I'm, just summarizing.
Yeah, I agree with the potato head analogy. She is definitely a potato head.
Yeah, so it could go, she's either clueless or she just didn't care, but you knew her more than I don't know. I don't know her at all.
Well, she was, somebody hired her at where I worked, and I don't know why. She didn't have any talents, and she called off sick all the time, which she didn't last very long. I think maybe a whopping 2 weeks or something. So I'm just baffled why somebody would hire her, because she wasn't a talented person. She was doing telemarketing, and I just don't understand the rationalization of hiring somebody like that.
Right. I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. But yeah, I mean, again, this is a lot of assumptions, and in my opinion, for everybody. Again, it's all opinions, but I think, I mean, you want to find out what happened. We all do, right? So, I mean, that's where we are. We don't know.
So one of your, and I definitely do want to get to it, but I'm not going to knock myself out over it. I mean, I think I know where to find them when I need them.
Right.
So one of your, I noticed one of your audience members had asked something about setting up a trust for Stephan. So,
yeah,
up until the trial, again, we weren't able to speak. Up until the trial, we were resting on the Stephan's comments about the defense, and we said, well, it sounds like there's a magic bullet. There's something out there, and there's more to this than we know, and obviously we can't be told. So it's going to be revealed in court. I've said that 100 times. It's going to be revealed in court. It's all going to come out in court. We're going to know the truth, what happened. But then as we got closer to that date in the plea hearing, it's becoming quite obvious that there was no defense, there is no magic bullet,
right?
And that in the chance that there was an opportunity, he ended up going to jail for a lesser offense and what have you, because there were other people and what have you, but he was part of the incident, complicit in it. That if we could, we would set up a trust fund for him. But where we stand right now, I'm not sure we're going to have any money for him,
right,
at all. I don't see where there's a commissary there. Of course, I don't see any evidence on the website for it, and don't see a hot meal situation there. So I'm not sure about that. And I told Deb if we did anything, we would set aside $100, but that's it. I said,
right.
He's put himself there. He put us in harm's way. We don't know to what extent.
Right.
And he's certainly not going to be rewarded for it. But and we haven't made a final decision on what we're doing about that yet.
Right.
And somebody else could make a decision for us, because that place he's gone to is a rough place.
Yeah, I was looking into it since last night, and it's old facilities, really bad people, and well, I guess, I mean, he put himself there, and you guys shouldn't have to deal with those consequences. So if you do support him at all, he's lucky. If not, well, he made those.
I think it's interesting on the information I got about the facility is that it's described several times. The warden greets the inmates upon arrival at the bus and immediately tells them multiple times, "This is a dangerous place." And I think it's quite interesting that they have to go to that extent to warn the inmates that are coming in, and there's no option out, that this is a rough place.
And it is. It's one of the worst prisons. It's bad.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And I wonder if they purposely sent him there because of that.
There's a good possibility. I mean, that's probably one of the worst crimes that he committed. Crimes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But when I show everybody and we talk about the different crimes that have gone on there, then people will understand how bad that prison is, which is not today, but yeah. So, well,
Yeah.
anything else you want to add, or I mean, comments you want to answer? Thank you for talking to us today. I appreciate it.
Again, we just have a deep desire to learn the truth, and we'll share it with everybody when we do, because obviously there's a lot of unanswered questions. When this happened, and part of the reason we never spoke up and came out and just ignored everybody is that the story wasn't about us. It was about Stephan and Jen and Maddie.
Yeah.
This wasn't about us. And there was no reason for us because we didn't have any information. We were blindsided by this, and it's been a very interesting journey to witness all the backlash. And it's unfortunate people never knew us before this because we're a couple of wild and crazy guys.
Right.
And we have a lot of fun poking fun at each other, and I laugh at myself a lot. There's an expression that I use, and forgive me, Debbie, for saying this, but there's an expression I use that if something goes wrong, you've pulled a Debbie. And this all emanated from when we lived in Georgia, and Debbie was out in the front yard. And she was weeding, and she was weeding and throwing rocks out of the flower bed. And it was a Saturday morning, and she threw a rock. And then when she released it, she goes, "Oh, you don't think that was a good idea?" And she turned around and watched it sail across the yard and hit the back. We had an Audi station wagon, hit the back window and shattered the back window.
Oh, no.
And, garage is full. There was no place to put it. And so I had to make arrangements to take it over to the Audi dealer on Saturday. But I kept that rock and I put it up on the mantle. So people would come over. And it's just an ordinary rock.
Right.
But people come over and go, "What's with that rock?" That's an $800 rock. It's very special. And I would share with everybody Debbie's moment. I also have another terminology for her because she's blonde, and when she has a brilliant idea, and when the story behind blondes,
right,
I always say, "Oh, Debbie had a blonde ingenuity moment," and so we have a lot of fun poking at each other, and sometimes I will come in and confess, "Hey, I did a Debbie." And I screwed up in some way. But we have a lot of fun in spite of all the turmoil that's going on. We kept our sanity, and we've kept our focus. We now have almost 100% closure on this. We're not quite there, but we're a lot further along than where we were. So,
right.
We're good. We're getting along.
Good. Somebody's asking about that, and I'm not even gonna, because we talked about it. What he meant. I didn't start it. So we already kind of talked about that. He was either victim blaming or maybe Jen. We don't know.
Yeah. Well, and see, that really threw us off.
Yeah.
Because that was very early in the conversations. I didn't start it. Well, that immediately led me to believe, well, who else is involved in this? Oh, there's a big criminal enterprise. Everybody wanted to tie him or associate him with Santa Claus character, that was going on. Was all coincidental. And I said, "Oh my God, this thing is, a huge conspiracy of sorts, and then at the end of the day, the air's out of the balloon. And it's just him. Right. We're left with him.
Yeah. And I think he threw.
I want my money back.
Hey,
I paid for a full length feature, and I end up with a dud.
That's what everybody else feels like too. I mean, I did read a lot of the messages that he sent back, and he did tell you, in all fairness, don't expect some climactic story or some great conspiracy. So I think that's what he was trying to tell you then. I mean, you read the messages too, between you and Deb, and I saw him say that a few times.
Yeah. And the attorneys get upset. You're gonna mess up my defense. And you go, boy, if that's your defense, I'm sorry. Maybe I could have helped it.
Right. He should have just came.
And again, I don't know why they just didn't get him in front of the police right away to tell the story. And, was he not being honest and open with them? Again, stupid as a stupid does, thinking he's going to outsmart somebody.
Well, you saw the interview where he was sleeping a whole bunch for hours, and then they came in and he, I got pictures on my phone from Disney and swim, whatever, right? So he didn't realize that, and I think that's how cooperative was. After that, he said, "Do I need a lawyer?" And that was it.
Oh yeah, when I've always told him, I said, if I have to ask you the question, I already know the answer, so just tell me.
Yeah.
Don't make me fish it out of you. Yeah. And they finally started revealing more, and then at that moment, he finally said, "Well, do I need an attorney?" No, what you needed was a reset on your brain. And open up and tell them what happened. It's too bad you can't rewind this and go back to that day. And he takes that advice and opens up. Where would he be today? The conversation would be a lot different. The ending would be possibly a lot different. I don't know, but I got to believe it would. Again, if you're going to be open with the police, that goes a long way. If you're going to be uncooperative and tight-lipped about it, that's not going to go anywhere.
Right.
And you forced me to do my job, and you forced me to go out and find this stuff, and you forced me, meaning me, Dad, to be as cooperative and as helpful as possible, because that's the right thing to do, and I'm not going to be complicit in covering up anything that you did because you're a dumbass.
Right. I mean, and you didn't. And nope. People were asking too about anything that the police took that were yours is now gone, right? You're never getting back your car. You're never getting back the 9mm. I don't know if that was his or whose, but.
Well, I wouldn't want the car back.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah.
It's soiled and painted, and I certainly don't. What am I going to do with it?
Right.
The gun. Look, probably everything Stephan owns is mine because I paid for it in one form, fashion, or another. So right. I would say it would be mine.
Right.
We found his watch, by the way.
Which one? The Rolex thing or the?
Oh, no, he never had a Rolex.
Okay, not a Rolex. The Mega.
And I told him, I said, "What you buying a Mega for? That's stupid." But he did. He described where it was in his bedroom, which I already knew wasn't. And but here's what baffles me. It was in my storage unit in the very back. Now, let's think about that for a second.
Okay.
He comes home at the beginning of December, and then he gets arrested in end of February. Sometime between now and then, or that time of when he came home and when he got arrested, somehow he got access to the storage room. Because let me tell you something. He had to pull things out of that storage room to put it where that was located. It was in the very back, buried under some stuff. And he kept describing it being in some container in his bedroom in a box or something, but it was really in that storage room in an unlikely place. There's no way I could figure out how he could get in there. Now, I've been missing a set of keys to that storage unit, or maybe he just went out late at night and knew where I kept them in my car and went over there and got into it, and there would have been some record of it. Right. But I would have been searching the records. The police did when he went down there that what was it, the 28th,
right?
That early morning of the 28th. They wanted access to it, and I said, "Sure, have at it." And they didn't find anything. But then when I went to clear it out, that's when I found his Omega, right. And we sold it. Because I figured, all the money he had stolen from us and all the money they cost us, it was mine.
Right.
I'm keeping the watch.
Right.
I didn't want to keep it, but it wasn't worth anything. I only got $1,500 for it. If the Rolex, he would have got 2 or 3 times more of that. Which,
right.
Told him not to get the Omega. You're going to spend that kind of money. First of all, I said, "What are you spending that kind of money
Right.
watch for. He spent $7,000 on that watch from his inheritance money.
Yeah. What I mean, yeah, I don't even know why would he want that?
BMOC, big man on campus.
Yeah,
That's
I
what he
mean,
was.
yeah, working at Disneyland just a little bit and just, yeah, so
You want to see my thing? Here's my watch. You want to see my bling? Here's my bling.
no more bling. Well,
he looked like he could afford to wear a $7,000 watch.
Yeah, no, he pretty much wore those the khaki pants and just like a plain t-shirt every day. It didn't go with that, but
Yeah. Well, listen, if I can offer a piece of advice as a public service announcement.
Yes, please.
Get an Apple Watch or get a watch to measure your health, because I can tell you we know of people that have experienced alerts, multiple alerts, and the doctors have poo-pooed it. No, it's nothing. Well, I can tell you, for a 44-year-old man experienced 3 incidents like that, and finally he convinced them to go in and do a more investigative search. And they started with a catheter up his arm, and got up there and quickly whipped it out and took him into another room and put in 3 stents.
Wow.
He had 3 clogged arteries, and so we went from poo-poo to putting 3 stents in. I had a situation where I was having an AFib situation, never experienced that before, and I had one back in December too. All of a sudden, my heart's racing at 160 beats per minute. I go, what the F is going on here? They changed some medications on me, but I wouldn't know that. I mean, I felt fine, felt a little kind of odd. Right. But I would say I look at the number of people that are out there wearing Apple Watches and Galaxy Watches and what have you.
Right.
But I would highly suggest, forget the Rolex. I sold mine, and I wear an Apple Watch, and I use it strictly for health reasons. I have to monitor my glucose sugar, so I wear a sensor, and it's paired with my watch, or my watch in my phone, constantly monitoring it. I went on a diet last March, lost 70 pounds, and I monitor, watch my weight every day. I eat about 1,000 calories a day. I'm not hungry. But I'm very strict on my diet. But I would highly recommend to everybody, if you've been thinking about it, pull the trigger. You've seen the Apple commercials where they have live interviews with people and how many times people's lives have been saved wearing the device. Why wouldn't you want it? It's probably your health is the only thing you've got. You don't get a second chance at if you don't take advantage of it. But
absolutely, I see people in chat like, yeah, I got this and that, and I've had like 2 Apple Watches, and they keep outdating themselves is the problem. So now I'd have to go for the 3rd one. But hey, and if anybody wants to wear those too, if you commit a crime, then we can find you. So that's helpful also. And I'm glad about your weight loss and your health. That's good, because you guys need to live out, whatever time that you have for yourselves. And yeah, I'm glad that you guys are coming to some sort of conclusion in this.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of anxiety waiting for the shoe to drop, and then to find out there's no shoe dropping is a bit of a downer. But at the same time, it gives you closure.
Right. And you need, I think everybody needs that.
Yeah. He, like I said, there's some questions I want answered because, inquiring minds want to know, but I'm just curious where the money was coming from.
Right.
For these packages that kept showing up. And then, maybe there is more to this.
Right.
And,
exactly.
I got to find out. And I think everybody deserves to know if there is any more,
Right.
I can't say with 100% certainty, but I'm in the 90 percentile of Jen being a dumbass
Right.
And just totally oblivious to what was going on around her, and definitely was, to me, was not involved in the cover up of Maddie's disappearance and her death. Everything leads to Stephan. He's basically implicated himself in that conversation, very early conversation. And then his actions, he's the only one video that's hard to believe that throughout this entire time, Jen wasn't there. And then,
right.
Did she really know that he left early Wednesday morning with her car and went someplace? I don't know. Was her call to be a ruse at 9:45 in the morning, asking me where Stephan is? Was that part of an act? I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
Right. Well, yeah, let's we'll all definitely keep an eye on this. Stephan just got moved there. I don't know if it was yesterday or this morning. I keep hearing different things. So
he got there. I got a notification because I had set up to be alerted. There's a thing called Vine Link.
Right.
And I got a text the night of the 19th. And it says Stephan was relocated to ACI.
Right.
And I go, what? So I go to check at the reception center. He's not listed there. Okay. And even up until late last night, he wasn't listed at ACI. I did check today, and now they do have him registered there, so he's checked in there now.
Right. And I don't think you guys will go there often. I think one time will be enough for you. We'll see. I just saw a lady say that in chat that she's been going for 18 years, I think, to visit her son, and it's terrible. It's terrible. So, yeah, best of luck to both of you, and we'll see what comes out of it. If the conversations, I know you haven't talked to him yet because he's not even settled, I don't think.
Well, from what I read, and of course, I getting information off the internet, what they all say about that. So I have to call and find out what he has access to or not. I read that these prisons now have these tablets, and that the prisoners are allowed to keep the tablet full time. So they have this ability, from what I understand, to communicate all the time. But I'm not sure if somebody in his level of incarceration would have access to that. So I've just got to call and find out what the rules are there, whether we have a chance to talk to him. Of course, the penetrating questions I would like to ask, I'm sure the phone's going to be recorded, and if there's any way that he could be implicated in some other crime, he's not going to reveal that. So the only way that I can get the information is physically go there, and we ask him questions, and he share that with us. But it would be quite an ordeal because, like I said, it would require 2 days for us to do that, and I'm not sure. We haven't figured out what we're going to do about that yet.
Right. Well, from experience, visiting my nephew one time in 5 years, it's not going to be, it will probably be your first and maybe the last, but we'll see, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I imagine the process to get in, the process is probably at least an hour, and then I don't know how long you have to wait around to see the inmate.
Right.
Then I don't know how much time they give you with them, and if they're going to say 30 minutes or something, definitely I don't know if we're going to invest 13, 14, 15 hours for a 30-minute conversation, and then I'm not sure what he would look like.
Or what he's even going to say.
Maybe I don't want to see him.
Yeah, who knows if he's going to tell you anymore. But I think it'll take a little bit of time. I think after a while, once this settles, he might tell you.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But those are my beliefs. I strongly believe that he's 100% responsible. And again, I not that I want to say this, but I just think that Jen is totally clueless about it, and especially about the night of the incident. I don't think she was involved in it.
Right. Well,
hey,
yeah,
prove me wrong. I'd love to be proved to be wrong.
Right.
I just want the truth.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, we're going to keep on that one, right? Either way, for me, Jen filled Maddie as a mother. I know that's your son, but he's a man. He was a man that got brought into Maddie's life young, and Jen gave him way too much access to her, period. That's neglect. Yeah. In my opinion, she should have saw signs. Anyway, she's supposed to protect Maddie. She didn't. And yeah, screw you, Jen Soto. Hashtag she should be arrested for at least neglect resulting in death. If it were up
Who
to
in the
me.
right mind allows an adult to sleep with their child? An adult man with their young child. Who allows that? I mean, that's just crazy.
And that's the thing. Like, she knew he had certain kinks. They weren't together. He was an ex. That's just disgusting to me. So I'm never gonna be okay with Jen Soto. But
yeah,
whether she's held for it, it's gonna be held in her mind. She's gonna always, she lost her daughter. So
yeah. Well, I'm sure there's going to be, I'd love to see everybody have closure on this at some point. So if I can help and contribute in any way, I'll try to do that. And but there's always that 1% that will never get total closure because I have to go off of what Stephan tells me.
Right. Well,
and how much of that is true and how much of it's not.
Right. Yeah, we'll be looking out too. I mean, I have had a couple conversations with him. If I can, once you guys get his information, if you want to pass it over, I'll shoot for it again. He was pretty open about his feelings for Maddie, which was interesting. So I don't know if I can get anything from him, I would try as well.
Well, he wasn't shy about sharing it with other people. I mean, that one woman he hooked up with. I mean, reading that interview is like, oh my God.
I know. I know. And the signs that anyone saw were not those signs, and I think some people missed it. So I'll go over all this when you're not on. If you have anything else you want to say or any final thoughts, then otherwise we'll double back around and see what happens. Right? Fingers crossed.
I have one thing to say. Jay, you rock.
Thank you. Back at you, Chris. You and Deb are awesome. I don't
mean that doing a Debbie rock. I mean a real rock.
Okay. Well, that's still a cool rock. That's an expensive rock. I don't mind that. She said, Christopher, you twat. That's your wife.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate you, Deb, for being in chat, Chris. And if you have anything else, I'll be here. I'm not going anywhere.
All right. Neither are we. Take care, kiddo.
All right. You too. Bye-bye.
Right, bye-bye.
All right, guys. Well, this was not the episode we planned today, and I'm sorry, Synth, that you waited so long. I was going to have Synth help me. I've got a lot of information written out. So I guess what I can say now is I see people in chat. I've had to time out a person or two just because that's not how we do on Guilty of Crime. We do not attack people. So that being said, what I wanted to say is, the biggest thing that was mind-blowing for me, guys, is the fact that Stephan did have a fast trigger. Jen lied about that completely, which doesn't make any sense, knowing that her daughter is who, what happened to her daughter. And people ask, are the signs there? Were the signs there that he liked little kids? No, the signs were there, in my opinion, what he did to her. I was, before even speaking to Chris, it was hard for me to sleep last night because I can't eat that right now. I'm literally in the middle of this. Thank you. But okay, so the attacks a few times, I can't talk right now. Just put it right here then. Thank you. Can you pick that? Never mind, just leave it. Okay, sorry guys. Anyway, yeah, a lot of you guys are starting late. We have a lot more content here. Synth was gonna come up and read some stuff, but what's better than to hear it from the people themselves? So I'm gonna have to think of another way to go over this, but I did not know, and nobody knew that Stephan had a triggering whatever it was, and that he had attacked Chris. Went for the throat, threw a pair of scissors, almost got him. It was just this close to his temple. I mean, nobody would have known that. And Synth, I could bring you up just to final thoughts, but we're not going to read. Hold on, let me add Synth here. Since she was waiting the whole time. Synth, can you hear me? All right. What are your thoughts on this? We're not going to read any of this today. We're already past that right now.
Yo, yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. You could probably lower it just a little bit.
Is my volume okay?
Yeah, I think so. I'm good with your volume. What are your thoughts? Takeaway thoughts?
Okay.
We're not going to read this now.
Okay.
We'll go over it.
Okay.
I'm
So
still going to.
I can't remember where I go to fix it. Settings.
That's okay. We will
Well,
go. No, you're good.
One of the things I remember. Okay, wait. I gotta mute.
You got to mute. Now I can't hear you. Nope, can't hear you. Can't hear you. Oh, she mute. Okay, so listen. That was the biggest thing for me, and
Okay.
it could
So my
be.
dog decided to like eat a mailman or something, and I didn't want everybody to hear all of that.
Okay, we don't want to hear that either. So what are your thoughts on this? I mean, you probably read some of the stuff I sent you. I didn't send you what Chris had told me last
One thing
night.
I thought I remembered was that he said that. Oh God, I'm trying to figure out which one to mute.
Why are you muting?
I have to mute one so that I'm not hearing you twice.
Can you just turn one of them off? Just shut one down? Anyway,
it's like delayed and I'm not hearing when we talk. I don't know which one to turn off.
It's because you have two of them on. That's why. I could take a minute and talk to the audience.
Okay, I don't know. Maybe that'll work. Can I hear you?
Figure it out. I can
just
hear
say
you.
Test.
Test. All right. Well, I don't want to keep here shambling and meandering, and I'm glad we didn't read because this would have been super annoying to be.
Okay.
Thank you, Annette.
I'm sorry. Okay, so let me just say two things with no thingy. Okay. So the first thing I remember, Stephan said that at one point, or somebody said he had martial arts.
Okay.
And this makes me think that he would know how to do. There's a certain move, because my husband's done it, that you can do it,
right?
And you would be able to put that kind of pressure on the hyoid bone.
Okay. And I mean that makes sense. Look at Brian Koberger. How
nobody's talked about that.
Right. And we haven't even talked about that. And
so if he did do it, that's a very real possibility. And since he already had kind of the fetish with the, what do you call it? Not necrophilia,
hold
the other one.
On. Can you hear me?
Maybe it is necrophilia.
I don't think you could. Hey.
I think it is necrophilia.
You can't hear me at
maybe
all.
that was something that they did and it went too far.
Hey, synth.
I'm sorry. It's echoing and I can't.
Yeah, I don't know. I am definitely not annoyed tonight, whoever saying that. I was listening to the screen and Manning chat, so I'm absolutely not annoyed tonight, Nettie, if you're talking to me. Synth can't hear me, and I don't want to be doing this with you guys on here.
Sorry.
So,
okay.
Yeah, I was trying to talk to you. Can you hear me? No, she still can't hear me, guys. So I think we're gonna.
Sorry, I got it now. I figured it out. I'm sorry. I figured it out.
Okay. Okay, so we do want to talk about. Can you hear me? I don't think she can hear me, guys. I know you guys can hear me and I can hear her, but some reason she can't.
Yes.
So you can hear me? No. All right, guys. No, I'm not annoyed by anything. I'm being serious when
it's delayed. I don't know why it's delayed. That's the most annoying thing.
Yeah, no being annoyed. Synth can't hear me right.
Maybe I should go out and come back because I waited so long. It did something.
Okay, I'm going to drop her out and then we'll bring her back in. Okay, so listen, we do have a lot to discuss. I do have a lot of information for you guys. I don't know what her technical difficulty is at all. I have no idea, but I don't want to hold this up. And wow, I completely didn't know that was going to be our show today. I didn't know Chris was going to call in. I didn't know any of that. So I had a bunch of things prepared for you. And now what we'll do is we'll just have another episode and we'll talk about all this stuff. Hold on. Let me add her back up real quick. Okay. If it's delayed or you can't hear me, we're just going to drop and we'll come back and have a conversation another night.
Let's try.
Can you hear me? She said yes. She shook her head yes. I've been able to hear you the whole time.
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah, she can't. Okay, we're gonna drop you. You're obviously having issues over there, and that is not all right. So we'll do another one. That's
I just
okay.
want to say hi. Okay, bye. I don't know. We'll talk
That's
tomorrow. And
we
sorry,
will.
I don't know.
That's okay. We will. We'll have another discussion night. All right, guys. I'm gonna drop her. I'm gonna come back on here. Without that, I'm gonna say thank you. I could hear her just fine, but I didn't want to sit there with you guys doing that. Knowing other people are going to want to watch this episode and hear everything that was going on. So we're gonna cut this. We will come back and have discussions. The big deal for me was hearing about hearing about it in writing. I'm looking at this and I called it Stephan Stern's anger. And the anger for me was the fact that the two stories of or three stories. One, they were in McDonald's parking lot, guys, and the who has been to McDonald's when McDonald's isn't prepared and they tell you to move to the side. That's happened to me hundreds of times. But to hear that there was a cop in the McDonald's parking lot with Jen, Stephan, and Maddie, and he just completely wigged out. That's the first thing. Second thing, choking his dad, putting his hands around the neck and going for that is another thing. And then throwing scissors at his dad to missing him just a little bit. He really could have killed Chris. So justice for Maddie, and we will have another episode where we discuss this because I did bring Synth on because we have so much to talk about. We have a 17-page PDF document that lays out a lot of these things and even more. Yeah, that shocked me. That was a big shocker to me, was that there were no warning signs about the CSAM with children, but the warning signs with the anger, and that Jen Soto. And I don't change my mind about Jen Soto, guys. I still think hashtag arrest Jen Soto. I still think she's a dumb twat, like Deb says. I still think she's dumb as a potato, but she needs to be held accountable for letting that little girl, her daughter, be with Stephan and have full access. And then when police asked her, does he have any triggers? What would have happened? Oh, nothing. He's just this big teddy bear. I mean, I've been thinking that this whole time, but no, that's not the case. So it's going to be more likely that Stephan going for the neck. He also did that with Maddie. And but then I got to ask you, I'm going to take this away from you guys tonight. You guys go back and think about what would make a mother lie for this guy, knowing that he had these temper tantrums, we'll call it, with his parents, with Jen, possibly with Maddie. What would make her lie? What would make her see her daughter giving this man a BJ and then still want to help him? And we all heard the officer in the room saying, why are you more concerned about Stephan than your daughter? So nothing's changed in my mind about Jen other than maybe it was actually Stephan that flew off the handle. And I'm going to give you this. When I heard Tyler Wallace saying that he asked Maddie to come live with them because she's 13 and she could choose where she wants to live, I can totally see Maddie having a conversation with Stephan the Saturday before he came up and telling him, hey, Stephan, I'm going to go move with my dad, Tyler. I'm 13 now. I don't need to work with the courts. My dad said, okay. And him just flipping out, going to Deb, going to Chris. I need anxiety pills. Up, down, up, down. I just need to keep myself de-rugged up. That's what I see. A new video of Deb. There are no new videos of Deb, but sure, Plunder has a new video of Deb. We'll see what that is. We're not going to do Collins, Chief Rocca. Unless you're talking about this case, I would prefer to talk to you after, and we'll wrap this up. All right. So we do have a lot to talk about. I do have a lot of information even further, and I do want to have discussions. But yeah, maybe he was just hangry. But that being said, we're going to leave it at that here. I love you guys. Seems like everyone else has other things to watch, to do. So why don't you guys go do that? Hit that like button. Do me a favor down there. I made a new email for Guilty of Crime. And that you got to go back and watch it, my friend. Go watch it. All right, go rewatch it. Okay, so I made a new email so that I'm not getting flooded and missing your emails. I made a new Gmail called sendmecases@gmail.com. Okay. So if you guys want to, yeah, thank you. Because I didn't know we were going to do this call and I thought we were going to do something else. We're going to do it another night. All right. But if you want to send me a case down below, send me cases@gmail.com and I'll take your case suggestions there. If you want to email me just to tell me how much you love me, it's guiltyofcrimebyj@gmail.com. If you want to email me and tell me I suck, it's guiltyofcrimebyj@gmail.com, but you can keep those ones. Deb says, I got a notification from a friend. Plunder or blunder is more like it. Strikes again. She's a twit, lying with her conclusions. She is invasive where she shouldn't be, just a twit. And that's official. You've heard it here first, folks. Go over, watch whatever you want. Get out of here. Hashtag arrest Jen Soto. Love you guys. And we are going to come back and go over all this, but not today. I love you guys. Send me cases@gmail.com. Who's Margot Martin? Chief, why don't you, Chief Rocca, go ahead and text me. You have my number. We'll talk after this. Thank you, Melissa, for being here. Tears in heaven. Allison, Jay, crack me up. Everybody, all you, I love you so much. I'll see you tomorrow, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. Now go out and share this video with your friends. Hit that like button and put it all over the place. Love you guys. Have a good night. Peace.
Guilty of crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Are you guilty of crime?